How's it going, everybody? I know it's been a while, but I have a good one for you here. And not just because of Black Friday and sponsors and whatnot, more on that later though. This season has introduced the bash changes that should have, in theory, made it harder to dodge them on reaction. But not just that, it should have made it harder to avoid the whole mix-up that comes with bashes. Empty dodge into guard break, empty dodge into light, empty dodge into whatever really. So, the video title isn't messing with you, I really do have a trick. And the trick is dodge at the correct timing. Well, no shit, who would have thought? And no, I am not messing with you. There is a single dodge timing that does allow you to minimize the risk to almost zero. I need you to pay attention to the explanation though, so you understand why this is a thing and why that dodge timing works. Don't just blindly follow. Think for yourself and it'll be even easier to apply this to your gameplay. But before we get into it, you guessed it, sponsor time. Viking Jewelry was kind enough to partner up with us again. You all know them by now. Norse themed pendants, necklaces, armbands, earrings and so much more. Their portfolio grows all the time, so frequent visits are a good idea. They have a Black Friday sale going on which gives you another 15% off on current discounts. So if you find a product that's 15% off already, you can add another 15 to it, giving you a 30% discount. And for that, you need to enter Black Friday at the checkout. As an example, I can give you my pendant. Some of you might have seen it already, but there is a special design with my bat on one side and a For Honor reference on the other. So use that code, and I will also link to it in the description as always. So take this opportunity to stock up for Christmas presents already. I'm sure your grandma will love a little bat necklace, so you'll never know until you try. So check them out, you won't regret it. Alright, back to the issue at hand. Many of you have probably heard it from some comp play already. There supposedly is a single dodge timing that lets you avoid all options. So let's break it down. I've prepared some not so fancy graphics for you to look at. We're using Warlord as our main example for now because his bash is currently presented as one of the stronger ones. So the changes to his bash were the following. You dodge, and now the earliest you can bash is 300 ms, and the latest you can bash is 500 ms into the dodge. And then the bash itself is 433 ms now. So we are looking at these two timings here. That's what everybody knows already. Now we need to figure out the windows in which we can dodge Warlord's headbutt. What we do know already is that the latest you can dodge any move, without exception, is 166 ms before the move hits you. So what needs to be checked is how early you can dodge and still avoid the bash. A little spoiler here, this used to be different for a lot of bashes, but Ubisoft seems to have secretly standardized this. We don't know when, but I think we can assume that they did this in conjunction with the bash changes this season. At least that's what I'm assuming. In short, 633 ms before the bash connects is the earliest possible timing. So from 633 to 166 is the sweet spot. You can now clearly see that there is a rather large overlap to dodge both buffered as well as delayed bash. Now we need to add another option, that is empty dodge to guard break. For that, we need to know the forward dodge recovery of each character. And here we are not looking at standardization. This value can be different. We are sticking with Warlords for this explanation for now. Warlord has a forward dodge recovery of 533 ms. Now we add 400 ms for the guard break, and we know at what time our dodge needs to have finished so we can counter guard break. Since we are dodging to the side, we can take that recovery value to know when we need to dodge to avoid a guard break. That value is 633 ms, so we need to dodge at this timing or earlier. Another option is the empty dodge into light. For this we can once again take the 533 ms forward dodge recovery and then add another 500 ms. We can also take the 633 side dodge recovery and add 100 ms, since that is how the game currently handles guard swaps after a dodge. In short, it's the exact same timing as a counter guard break, and I don't want to fill the already convoluted graphic with even more stuff. I'll explain why one feels better than the other in just a second. So what we can see here now is a singular frame that allows for a dodge that avoids all options after an empty dodge. This here is the best possible scenario for the guy using the bash. Let me show you Shugoki's windows. See how there is a 66 ms overlap because his forward dodge recovery is 600 compared to Warlord's 533. This makes the mix-up much less potent. Now let me explain a few more things here because user error on the attacker's side is a massive component. For this single dodge window to be as small as possible, the attacker needs to hit perfect timings. The only timing that will get perfectly every time is the buffered bash and the light after an empty dodge. To delay the bash perfectly or have the guard break after the dodge come out as early as possible, you need to have that input down perfectly. The more you delay the guard break, the more that orange bar creeps to the right, increasing the window. Same as a delayed bash. If you do not delay it to the maximum, that blue bar goes to the left, once again increasing the window for that single dodge timing. That is why empty dodge to guard break feels so bad, and empty dodge into light feels much better, because you can buffer that light without second thought. The defender needs to dodge perfectly to be able to still block that light and avoid the bashes. So all of this now sounds incredibly defender favored, and some people might even make it sound that it is very easy to do all this. Mind you though, as you can see on these graphs here, you need to dodge within 300 ms of the dodge startup. Dodge startup is an animation, nothing else, there's no indicator, nothing. You are reacting to simple movement, any movement. The first 100 ms of a forward dodge are usually just some minimal bending of the knee on any hero. Nobody is making a distinction here between a forward dodge and any other movement. So straight up neutral guard breaks will mess with players that are trying to abuse this single dodge timing. So if you suspect somebody of attempting this, go spam those neutral GBs together with the rest of the mix-up. Not many players will successfully hit that dodge timing to begin with. So much for that easy solution from the beginning of the video. The option is there at the moment. Whether you can reliably hit that timing is a totally different question. My advice right now would be to look up the forward dodge recovery of the character you'd like to play, and with that value you can check how big of a window your opponent has to avoid your mix-up. Or the other way around, check how big of a window you have against the character you're facing. Well, that's it really. Now you know the current state of bashes in For Honor. Sorry it took so long, I'll try and upload more again. For now, don't forget to check out Viking Jewelry. I hope the video was helpful. Thanks for watching. Laters everybody.